It seems like a nice opportunity to bring a bunch of different people together from the industry. It's actually kind of like a normal day at work for me.
What's on the menu for tonight?
That is a good question, and I'd love to be able to tell you, but it's still being processed in my mind by these guys prep behind me.
Everybody Eats is an organisation combating food waste, food poverty and social isolation. 3 nights a week, Everybody Eats offers a 3-course meal from LTD in Wellington, using donated food that would be going to landfill, all for a core donation. Food donations are collected first thing in the morning before head chef Al Robbins creates a menu for that night with help from volunteers. This year, for the Wellington on a Plate festival, Everybody Eats is welcoming 5 next-generation chefs from around the capital. Each week, one chef will create a menu from donated food they get on the day, before a panel of judges crown a winner at the end of the festival.
My name's Kahlivia Russell and I'm a chef at Rita. I did grow up on a farm out east of Stratford, so I guess food has been in my life, in my entire life from birth. So growing up on a farm, you're definitely a lot more connected with the way that food is produced and grown, and you're much more aware of wastage and what actually goes on, how long it takes to actually produce a single carrot, may it be. And then I ventured down to Wellington and did a degree in industrial design. And then I was fortunate enough to get offered a job by Calda when I was just finishing my degree. So that's when I started my chefing journey. So from there I worked for Nico for a couple of years. And then I moved to Melbourne, worked for the Andrew McConnell Group. So I worked for Cumulus and a couple of other venues for a few years. Then I worked in a bakery. So I learnt kind of the patience of what's involved in bread making, which is quite a good journey as well, before returning home to Rita.
Head judge and fellow Wellington chef Max Gordy is the mastermind behind the competition, having previously worked for Everybody Eats. So why did Kahlivia want to be involved?
I think it's been a really tough years, a couple of years for hospitality, and it's kind of nice to keep looking forward and keep doing different activities and adventures, I guess, and it seems like a nice opportunity to bring a bunch of different people together from the industry. I think that we've all had a hard time, and it's nice to think about something really positive and give back, I think.
What excites her most about the event?
I think I'm most excited to work with such a different group of people. I mean, obviously there's some of my team that will come along, but then it's a nice mix of us and people that volunteer there already and people that don't actually work in hospitality that volunteer. I think it'd be a great opportunity just to get a group of people together and just have a bit of fun.
Unlike the previous chefs, Kahlivia isn't nervous about the unknown ingredients as Rita follows a similar model.
It's actually kind of like a normal day at work for me, but I think it'll be exciting because it'll be slightly different produce because I know that they obviously don't know what they're going to get, where we have some idea what might arrive that week. So I think that will be the challenging part, not knowing what we're going to get, especially with it being such a different variety compared to what we have at Rita. Just think positively about it and be excited about it and just like really embrace that fun side and just enjoy doing it, because that's when good food comes from happiness.
She says her team's knowledge of the similar process is a powerful point of difference they are bringing to Everybody Eats.
It does take a team, it takes a massive crew to be able to do a performance like that, and I think that if you trust everyone that you're working with, they do as much work, if not more, than what I do, and I think that that's the most powerful part you can kind of play on.
What does the phrase Everybody Eats mean to Kahlivia?
I think the phrase Everybody Eats isn't just about food, it's kind of the concept that everyone deserves a seat at the table. So no matter what your background is, whether you're rich, poor, whatever it might be, you deserve a seat at that table. So that could be a boardroom, it could be on a sports team, it could be anything. It's just involving everybody in one space, which is really special. We've
now met 3 of the 5 chefs participating in this event. But why these chefs specifically?
I think it's really important for the next generation of chefs to be celebrating what we can do with the way that food is changing and the way that we're using food, and the idea of not wasting things and the idea of everybody having a seat at the table, I think was really important, and why these particular chefs wanted to get involved.
There's a huge buzz around our volunteers as well for these chefs to come in. Huge buzz. They're so excited to see what menu they create.
Yeah, so are we.
Yeah, so are we, yeah. And it's really interesting when we have guest chefs in, because there's a lot of ideas that come out of these dinners that you would never otherwise think about. New techniques, new food flavour profiles. It's great for us. It's a great learning experience for us just as much as it is for them.
All of the chefs have the same main course protein, oyster cut lamb shoulder. As for the rest of the ingredients, that will be down to the day's donations. In contrast to the previous weeks, only 3 boxes of donated food along with leftovers are at Kahlivia's disposal. Everybody Eats head chef Al Robbins says less food is a varied struggle.
The winter is in generally
Like
more
right now.
challenging for lots of reasons, because what we're receiving, because obviously there's not so much food to waste, and then there's also a lot more people who need a hot meal, having enough food to feed people, enough
People to help
prepare it. Because there's always enough people to eat it. You know, we're always needing to feed hungry people.
Kahlivia has apples, oranges, pears, kumara, potatoes, beetroot, ginger, zucchini, mushrooms, milk and broccoli. However, she's also gone foraging for a few handy extras.
I did go to Kai Cycle, which is a cute little urban garden in Newtown, and they have a little farm there, and it's basically volunteer ran as well, like here. So I thought they were kind of nice person to like collab with, and they wanted to give me some herbs, which was really awesome. So I collected that, and I got a couple of things foraging around in the gardens around Wellington.
Her relative comfort is helped by the fact she came to volunteer some weeks ago before the competition started.
I think a lot of people want to come help and volunteer, but it's quite intimidating to come into a space when you don't know what to expect, and so it gave me the push to come in, but it's been on my to-do list for a long time, and I'm sure it is on many others, so I've managed to drag a few people along with me today, so hopefully they'll keep coming back, which is kind of the bigger picture, I think, yeah.
Now it's the day of. How is our head chef feeling?
Pretty excited, there's lots of people, so there's lots of many hands make light work, so that part's really exciting. Challenging, because obviously there's a lot of people to feed and we want to make sure they all get enough food, so that's really important. We don't want to not have enough or run out, so just making sure we utilise everything we've got to make sure it's enough food. Yeah, that's really important to me.
So, what's on the menu?
That is a good question, and I'd love to be able to tell you, but it's still being processed in my mind by these guys prep behind me. But the main's going to be a really delicious Mexican number with maybe a little bit of flatbread, and then for dessert maybe a kulfi with some delicious juicy doughnuts. We'll see what happens.
Kahlivia and her Rita team begin refining the menu while her prep shift volunteers arrive. Midday, prep begins. The menu was finalised around 3:30 p.m. The starter, a potato and beetroot tartare with horseradish cream. Main, a lamb barbacoa with kumara, rice salad and handmade tortillas. And dessert is kulfi with ginger doughnuts and caramelised apple. Soon after, a fresh group of volunteers arrive for service and front of house. Same as last week, the judges are among the first to arrive. Despite a tight finish on prep, an hour in and service is going smoothly. How is the head chef finding it?
Pretty good now. If you asked me that a couple of hours ago, I would have said, oh! But we managed to get there. It's just really nice to see the room full up and a lot of happy people eating their food. It's good. you know, it's interesting dynamic when you've got a lot of people in one room, and they're all looking for direction, I think, which is great. But then it's like a lot of hands on deck. So that can be difficult, but then the positive side of that is that if you need a job done, it's done very fast because many hands make light work. So it's got its pros and its cons.
For Everybody Eats to thrive, it needs support from those who are able to dine and give generously. People like Sven, who has been dining all 3 nights every week for 1.5 years.
A lot of food goes to waste, and for every meal that I pay for, it helps like a couple of people that can't afford to feed themselves.
Like many others, it's the sense of community that is most enduring for Sven.
You never know who's going to be here. It's a bit like maybe the Star Wars cantina. You can get a variety, I'd say, characters come here.
The appreciation and support for the work being done here extends further than just the monetary. Angela works at a nearby pharmacy, using her job to help keep Everybody Eats running smoothly over winter months.
We've been offering flu shots for Everybody Eat volunteers, just so everyone can stay well and be healthy enough to volunteer every week.
Just after 8 p.m, the doors close on the 3rd guest chef's service. How did our head judge find Kahlavia's menu?
I feel like there's more and more people outside in the queue. It's pretty awesome to see. It was just a real interesting menu. I feel like there's a lot more fermented stuff and preserved things this time around. I feel like there's a lot more volunteers in the kitchen, so putting all those volunteers to use was quite the task. I had a peek in the kitchen and about 4 people rolling tortillas back there, which is so cool, man. Fresh is best, right? So that was cool to see. I couldn't pick a region that it was from, which is I feel like a very Kiwi style of dining. Like there's a lot of flavors coming from all over the world, and New Zealand's a bit of a melting pot for that. So it was a really cool menu to see that.
And our head chef, how is she feeling?
Pretty happy. It's a pretty amazing feeling. Definitely couldn't have done it without the team that is already here. Like, you know, we might come with the ideas and maybe a direction we want to go in, but we could not do it without Al, Jack, and all of the volunteers. They're incredible.
How about a most memorable moment?
Watching the guys cook tortillas to order is pretty special, I think, yeah.
Next time, head chef of Field and Green, Tak Tanaka, steps into the Everybody Eats kitchen to create another fine dining menu for the masses.